Hello there, just doing a little update here on my tank. It's November 20th, 2013. The tank's almost 2 years old. I think like January, February will be its anniversary. I've had some issues with it sort of in the past. I've kind of documented those, but this is the JBJ 28-gallon Nano cube tank. It originally had the standard LEDs, which were all white. The hood died within a year, so I purchased. They were Ecozonic lights, the panoramic pros, and I had to gut the light system before. I had a couple videos on that, but I didn't have any sort of protection over the lights. Within a month, I noticed that an LED was dead. I checked the warranty, and you had to find the serial number and contact them and all that kind of stuff, and I just kind of put that off. And I noticed later, more LEDs were dying, and then some of the lights just seemed not very bright. So I had some issues with the tank and that effect, and of course I was neglecting some of it. The topper was I went on a cruise for a week during the summer, and the day we left, it was kind of hot in here, and the air conditioning broke, and it was extremely hot, and the person house sitting in the house had to get someone to come and fix it. But in any event, a lot of the corals died. All the fish lived. Some of the zoanthids actually lived. Some melted and some kind of came back. And the frog spawn, he didn't die, but he was sort of dying before then. But he was one of the last corals to die, so he was pretty tough. So what I did was I reordered the lights and I installed them, and then I took the old ones and I sent them back to the manufacturer and got replacements. So if my lights ever die, I can just take one out and replace it. I don't have to wait for them to ship me anything. That's kind of some of the things about LEDs versus, they look beautiful and whatnot, versus like T10 lights. You get a light that burns out, you replace the light type of thing. But whatever, So what I did a couple months ago, I put a piece of plexiglass over the lights to protect it from the water, and I cut it and everything. And before I took the paper off, I noticed the paper said UV filtering lights. It was like plexiglass made for picture frames to knock out the glare, and so I kept that up for maybe a month or so, and I took that down and got like a proper Lexan clear piece of plexiglass and put that in. So what I'm running, I have the blue white for the front and back, and in the middle it's all blue. So let me close this. And of course, since I changed the doing this one-handed here, since I changed the plexiglass, it's much more clear. I kind of turned down the dimmer a little bit to reacclimate the corals. I mostly have softies here, as you can tell. But other updates on the tank. The back of this tank has two pumps that kind of alternate by like a switch. They call them wave maker switch, but it's not a wave maker. It just basically turns one on, turns the other off, and it cycles. It's very loud when you hear it like switch over, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. Put that thought on hold though. What I did with the pumps, I took them out, soaked them in vinegar, cleaned them. They were very dirty. Plugged the one in the right in. The one on the left, this last chamber here shares one of the pumps for this side, but it also shares the pump for this skimmer. So it's very crowded, and I mentioned before, the tubing from the pump that goes up, and there's a 90. It's very crowded. It was very hard to put that in before because the skimmer, kind of that pump takes up some room. So I just left that one unplugged. I mean, I don't need this little pump going here. why do I need them to alternate? It makes a lot of noise, you know. It's all I really need to do is have water from this back area get back in the tank. I don't know if it really affects the circulation on this side so much since these pumps are kind of weak. You know, so I just have the one in the right hand side going. So I move my MP10 over to the left hand side, and there's a lot of rock and whatnot. I used to have a little Nano Corellia pump. I tried to get that to where it doesn't function anymore, so maybe I'll buy a new one and just put it in the very back at the bottom to kind of increase circulation over there, maybe. So I have the MP10 pump. It might be a little bit of an overkill for the tank, you know, but they're pretty cool. I think they're worth it. At first, you know, I thought it was kind of weird paying that much money for a pump, but you know, some of the other pumps or power heads and whatnot, you know, can cost a little bit. This you can play with a little bit more, you know, has some programs and stuff like that. You know, I like it. The back area here, there's a little, you know, the tray. I went through an in-tank, and they made a larger media basket, and you could do that, or you can make a large one with egg crates, because the one that comes with this tank is very small, and the one the in-tank sells much larger. And I run Chemi Pure Elite in the bottom chamber. The middle chamber I run the white stuff, Purigen, and then on the top I have like a small filter pad, you know. So that works pretty well. What I was doing before, it's a 28 gallon. I would about once a week, I would buy 3 gallons of like distilled water from HEB, you know, they were 70 cents. I would mix it overnight, you know, with the salt and do all that kind of stuff. And then I went crazy and I would do 4 gallons once a week, you know, buy that extra gallon. And then I was at the fish store, and they sell salt water for $1.25 a gallon. So I just bought like a 6-gallon, 2 6-gallon containers from Walmart. I'll fill them up. I bought a large brute bucket, you know, on wheels, and I put all the salt water in there. I mix it, you know, and heat it. And then I'll just do about like, you know, a half water change, you know, maybe once a week. And you know, I think that's about 6 gallons, you know, because I have so much rock and whatnot, but maybe about like a 6-gallon, almost half, and I'll have extra in the bucket, and I'll just buy, you know, maybe 6 gallons a week from the fish store and kind of keep it mixing. I plan to get a RODI unit. I've been playing around with that idea because I want a larger tank, you know, so I'll do some sort of containment system in my garage, you know, and mix that up. But since doing a larger water change once weekly, you know, the corals just seem like they love it a lot better, of course, you know. They've just really puffed out. The water looks much better, of course. But I've noticed my skimmer, and it might have been just because my skimmer in general, I took it out, put vinegar in it, soaked it, you know, cleaned it all out. It produces a lot of like wet skim now, and I've really like tried adjusting it, you know, so to concentrate the skim, but it's not really working, so so whatever, you know. But that's really the update on the tank here. For fish, I have, you know, I still have the clownfish. I have a Watchman Goby, a yellow one in here with a pistol shrimp, and I have a blenny. It's called like a snowflake blenny or something like that. He has a lot of personality. He's pretty cool. I was thinking about getting like a 105. A lot of it's just trying to find like what I want to do for it. A lot of the stains, you know, you see it at places are kind of cheap, and I don't want to have to build one because that will be strong, but it'll look horrible. So, you know, maybe I can hire someone to do it or something like that, and, you know, I'm kind of playing around more with the options, like lighting and stuff like that, and what sort of sump and everything, but, But in any event, this tank here, I have this big devil's hand down here. Some green mushrooms and some orange mushrooms down here. A little zoanthid area. I have no idea which ones they are. The middle here I have those yellow, it's a yellow leather coral. It looks all shrunken in for some reason. And leathers will do that, they'll look all large and they'll kind of shed and kind of shrink for a day or so, and that's just what they do. I have this little green pallies or whatever they are. I'll move them back or something like that. It's nice and green, but I just feel like moving it. These leather corals here, these reds, they look nice for a little while ago, but I'm losing heads here. I think like the shrimp pistol shrimps are kind of a pain in the ass, I'll say that. They'll bury stuff, and you always have to kind of fix them here. Here's a little goby. But you know, they'll knock mushrooms off, you'll see them floating around, and then they disappear, and then months later you'll just see a single mushroom growing somewhere, you know. It's all huge and planted. Here, these are called Gatorade zoanthids. They're very orange. I saw them at the store I go to. They're very awesome. They have a huge rock. They're freaking expensive, I'll say that. They're like 60 bucks for 3, but I had traded something in. I had some credit, so, you know, we sort of swapped for something. Oh, here's that blenny. He's pretty badass. Here's like cabbage coral. I have one of these guys, like a toadstool. When I had one before, it was a different color. I don't know if I like this color yet, or maybe it's just beige. When it gets larger, it'll look a little better. Like a Kenya tree, some other softy, this big cold coral. Those little green pallies are called wow pallies. I think I got like a head of about maybe 5 or 6 for about like 30-40 bucks or something. And back here I have some true red people eaters, and I traded those for this large mushroom rock. The mushroom rock was kind of a weird color. I really didn't like it. It just looked like a rock with a lot of coralline algae. You couldn't really, the mushrooms didn't look too good. They were very thin, and I don't know, I just wanted to get rid of it, so I kind of traded it. There's a big monster emerald crab. Besides that, you know, I have a lot of other little hermits. Are pretty cool. What else? There's a blenny again. There's a devil's hand coral and some green star polyps. About a month ago I glued that there, and it was probably about the size of like a dot, maybe a nickel, maybe a little bit larger than a nickel, but I mean, this is growing like a weed here. And that is update on the tank here.